When I'm building an org chart, I sent y'all my org chart. Unfortunately, my org chart often seems a little heavy on the admin side, and it's because I'm constantly trying to prevent a customer complaint. So we've got to make sure that we're communicating well enough to our customer, to our team. And at the end of the day, you're going to live and die by your communications. It starts with the sales, next moves to the people, and then it next moves to the systems. The biggest weaknesses I've found in businesses sub 5 million is going to be the fact that they don't have good reporting. And there is thousands of touch points through the customer journey. If you look at my model, I've got 3 customer journeys. I've got an emergency insurance journey, I've got a non-emergency insurance journey, and then I have just a retail journey. And if you do, write it down, because that's something that you need to clarify and say, what does this customer journey look like? But to bring it back to simplification, you need someone that's performing the task. You need someone that is overseeing the quality of that task, and you need someone that's making sure the reporting is being put in. And then ultimately, you've got a manager that is looking at those reports. And it sucks to pay managers because they're an overhead. But if you want to protect your customer experience, you have to have a manager to make sure that your processes are being followed and the technician doesn't go out there and create their own little kingdoms on the job site. When you are plugging in your people, you got to give them clarity of what they're supposed to be responsible for. So they need no more than 3 things, at minimum 1 thing, to know how they're having success. If they're winning in their job, what is the 1 thing they're looking at to know how they're winning in their job? And preferably it needs to be assigned a number. So a revenue number, a quantity number, a unit number, something. So when you're communicating to the people that's going to fill your organizational chart, make sure you're giving them something that they can digest and comprehend, that don't drop a manual of SOPs on their lap. All right, Joe, you said you've already started building on your organizational chart. Talk to us about that a little bit. And then anyone that's had success, y'all raise your hand.
I've also reached out. I'm just actively trying to recruit someone that knows. I think at the level that we're selling pools, you have to know a lot about pools. And the people that know have gone through the field work are usually the blue collar guys that aren't the people you want to put in front of your millionaire, billionaire clients. So yeah, my accountant is phasing out in the next year, and I know we're way too busy, but I know I can't wait for the day that I need to have a marketing division, because that means that my sales and field guys will be bigger than the opportunities that we have.
Until someone proves me wrong, I don't think you can build out your organizational chart from 2 million to 10 million unless you have someone at the 10 million mark in your specific industry doing the exact same services that says, this is what mine looks like right here. I like that you're being proactive here because you're thinking through what I'm going to need. And I think that goes back to, if the better you understand your current customer journey, the better you're going to know how you need to build out your organizational chart so that you can make sure all those touch points are covered. For instance, my CSR holds my field staff accountable for their documentation in the field. Why? Because she's sitting at the computer looking at the schedule, looking at the job files, and she's not answering the phone every second of the day. So in between her phone calls, inbound phone calls, she's looking at those job files to see what's happening with our team to make sure that they're hitting their checkpoints of documentation and private notes. Everybody's got a perfect organizational chart?
Share it.
Ain't no way. Y'all share it if it's perfect. Let's put it in here.
And now we're transferring over to the AI agents, because the AI agents now sound a lot more like humans, and it lets people know automatically that you're talking to the AI agent of H2O restoration. And the way on how we stand out from our competition is, if they have went through a claim before and then we show all this techie stuff, they're like, wow, oh my goodness, I've never had that type of onboarding.
And so I took the manual off the website from the truck mount unit that we used, uploaded it in a notebook LM, and then I took some of the pictures that were on there, and then I said, give me a 10-minute presentation on how to operate this for my technician to be able to run it according to manufacturer specifications. I'm not a fan of tying their incentive pay to a percentage. It's better to do it in bonuses, because you don't know what you don't know. And as you start growing, you might lock someone in to a percentage and then realize you don't have an additional percentage to carve out for another salary when you realize they've hit capacity. And if you've never ran at that volume of business, you may not know what capacity limits are for your individual on how many tasks they can handle. And the last thing you want to do is push someone to 70 hours, 80 hours a week and burn them out, because most folks, they can't sustain that amount of workload over and over. Because when you start reducing pay, I've done it, unfortunately, cost of learning, what is Alex Hormozy calls it, education tax, you'll end up losing folks. It's easy to give, it's hard to take away. I think if it gets perfect, you're not growing and you're stagnant. And then eventually it's going to stop being perfect because you go backwards.
Man, if everybody had the perfect team and the perfect org chart, we'd all be killing it. Not on this call. We'd be on a golf course or fishing or something right now.
Anytime you got to teach, it's going to bring clarity on how you do something. People don't know what they don't know. So you're going to have ask questions that draws out what they don't know. So if anything that we're starting in our business, if you don't know how to do it, you got to have someone that knows how to do it. And I would prefer you to find someone that knows how to do it. And that's your first hunt. Anytime that y'all are hitting a wall against something, how many people did you have to date before you got married? How many people did you have to date before you got lucky in bed? There is a process. You're not going to do it in 5 times. I have hired hundreds of times and I have fired hundreds of times, and I'm still learning how to do it. And he said, at that point, I realized I didn't have a big enough quantity to be able to understand if it worked or it didn't work. And so most people quit before they do enough volume and quantity to have a good judgment call on it. If y'all don't have something on customer journey and organizational chart, and throw out something, because I bet it ties back to it. Closed mouth don't get fed, right?